Hello! And in this video I'm building the Magic Roundabout, which is in Swindon in the United Kingdom. Now I'm not the only one building the Magic Roundabout, because me, Skib and Hot Kettle are sort of doing a build challenge to see who can build the best Magic Roundabout. Because I did build the Magic Roundabout a couple months ago, like before we had proper asphalt and before I worked on techniques I have to improve it. So we've done a vote to see who has built the best one. The vote was completely anonymous. We just had a cinematic show of the 3 builds and people voted. And I think we had something like 62 people vote. And obviously now the votes are in, but I'm not going to say the result until the end of the video, because that's where Skib and Hot Kettle will be joining me, and we will announce who won, and I don't know, talk about general things. That'll be at the end of the video though, so stay tuned for that. So I'll talk a little bit about what I how I built the Magic Roundabout in game. I used a similar technique to what I did the first time, but what I tried to do is basically miniaturize it a bit more, because last time it was a bit big, and even this time it was a bit big. It's just so hard to get scale right in City Skylines, I find. So I build the general layout, and I build the general layout out of the normal sunken roads, the normal 2-way, because it's just easier. There's more to I'm just thinking of the word grip onto, but that's not really the word, because obviously they have the grid around them and they snap in different ways to highways and stuff. Because I upgrade all of the Magic Roundabout to highway roads afterwards to allow it all to be flat and me to use proper asphalt over the entire thing and make it as flat as possible. Because if you use proper asphalt on a sunken road, you can't, if you use the one that sits on top of the road, you'd have a big dip and the car's wheels would be in the road and it would be awkward. And then if you use the ones that go into the road, it wouldn't work, because you couldn't go up the pavements, you couldn't remove them. So you use highways, because they have no pavements or curves on the outside. And I'm moving it into the general shape of the Magic Roundabout, which is 5 mini roundabouts going the correct way, which in the United Kingdom we drive on the left hand side of the road, so the roundabouts go in a clockwise direction, and then you've got a centre roundabout that goes in an anti-clockwise direction. This is because it allows people to enter the mini roundabout and cut across to the other side of the junction, which would in the case of a normal big roundabout would be the furthest junction away. But because there are mini roundabouts surrounded by an anti-clockwise big roundabout in the middle, it allows traffic to quickly go to the other side of the roundabout. Apparently it's very effective. People do get very confused by the Magic Roundabout. I've never driven on it personally. Maybe I will someday, but for now I just have to go by accounts of what other people say online and stuff like that. But what it looks like is it's very well signposted. As long as you follow the lines on the road and the arrows, you can pretty much get through it. As long as you know how to do like a normal roundabout, you're pretty much fine. It's pretty much exactly the same thing. Just there's 5 small ones and 1 big one that goes the other way around if you drive on the left. Now most people will be having trouble because most of the world drives on the right hand side of the road, and this is all confusing anyway because it's on the wrong hand side of the road, and people don't like roundabouts. I say people, Americans don't like roundabouts. But it's simple enough. So here I am adding a lot of the road decals. I'm pretty much looking at Google Maps the whole time, trying to get to the exact road markings of the Magic Roundabout. And as you saw there before, I drew a circle, and how I got the circle was I just did a road in a circle and simply did it as circular as I could. They were a bit like square, or just a bit flat on the ends, so I could have maybe done better, but I was happy with that. I was amazed. I thought I was going to do terrible at drawing a circle. But then you've got to have a middle circle to the roundabout, because mini roundabouts have normally a painted middle, so that it's defined where the middle is. And how I did that was I used the decals to I just spun them in a circle until I had a perfect circle. I used a white line decal and it worked out well. And like I am here, I'm drawing another circle using the roads as guidance, because, well, this is a perfect circle, so I may as well use it. And the line I draw isn't a perfect circle, but it's much more close than I could have done if I hadn't used the guides. Because I'm not one for perfection. Things don't have to be precisely right for me. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. If anything, it's more closely related to real life. So I try and do things that are a bit off anyway. But getting in more now to what I'm doing in the video, because many of you may not have seen this. This is Procedural Objects, and this was the first time I've ever used it in a build. And I didn't know any of the real controls and how to use them, and it took me ages. So I cut most of it because it was just me faffing around, not being able to work it out. But I use them to make the raised reservations. Now, if only we had done this challenge a bit later, because there's a couple new procedural objects out on the workshop, which would have been perfect for this. There's a couple triangles that have beveled edges. That would have been perfect, but this just came out a bit too early. And I haven't even said, I've changed the road colour. As you noticed, I changed it ages ago, but I'm just talking about it now. I changed it to be a more light colour, a more colour that there is in the UK. Roads tend to be a bit lighter and a lot less dark. But I have noticed that in most places of the world, they are even very light coloured. Even in places like America, where people say they have dark roads, they're very light. But I do prefer the look in City Skylines of dark roads, but this just fit the general aesthetic way better because it actually matched what it was in real life. And now I'm adding some curbs to the side of the road, because obviously there are none, because this is technically a highway or a motorway. So I'm adding those curbs along all the edges just to make it look a bit nicer. Here I am messing with procedural objects again. I knew a bit more of what I was doing at this point, but I still hadn't worked out that you could rotate procedural objects. So I'm moving all the individual vertices on their own and then getting it in the right position where I could have just rotated it, but I didn't know how to rotate it. So it wasn't really I was still learning. I'm learning now. And here I'm creating a pedestrian crossing, because on the Magic Roundabout there are several crossings at each of the main roads, and they're all traffic light controlled crossings. So what I'm doing here is trying to recreate as close as possible a traffic light controlled crossing. Now I may do a video just on building a traffic light controlled crossing, but the problem is people don't really use it. So maybe I will work it out how to do it and then make a video if it is possible. So for as like basically at the moment all this is eye candy. The people don't actually use it because I put a path under it, so they just walk straight across even if the traffic light is red. But I have even noticed that when there is only ability for them to cross because of the road, people will still ignore the crossing rules and they'll just cross anyway. But like I said, I'll work it out. I'll try and see if I can maybe do a video on how to do a crossing, because this crossing's very like British style crossing or UK style. And as you saw there, I added the small roads on either side and then shrunk them down in order to create a traffic light here, like in order to create a node. Now I'm not sure if this could be changed with like the node, is it called node maker or something, where you can make nodes in the road? I'd have to give it a go, but I don't think you can actually add traffic lights to just random nodes. You might be able to, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And there I am just adding ploppable asphalt on the join between the highways and the pedestrian roads, because there always creates a small dip, because obviously the normal highways are higher than the normal roads, because the normal roads have a dip in them, so there has to be a slope. So I just remove that with ploppable asphalt. And now I'm creating like lines, these sort of jagged lines that indicate that there is a crossing coming up. They're not perfect. I probably should have spent more time on getting them more equal, but from what I know and what I see daily, they're never the same. Like they're never ever the same. It's just how the people who paint them. They're always different. So I'm coming to the end of my time-lapse build, and I'm trying to work out how to fill up these areas with green space, because in real life there's not many trees and many foliage. So what I ended up doing was going with a very light spread of foliage. I probably shouldn't have, because it ended up making it look weird in the cinematics. But I did it, just to see. It was a bad choice, but I did it anyway. And I used Ronix's grass that he's come out with recently. It's a very like small grass. Is it an asset or is it literally a grass? I think it might be a grass, like. And I feel it used to fill in the gaps between the road and the pavement. And it looks okay. It looks okay close up, but when you get further away, it just looks a bit like meh. There's nothing really much there. So I sort of regret it. I probably should have put more foliage in it. What was done is done, and I can't go back. The challenge is complete. For the final part of the video, here I am, dirtying up the roundabout, adding a load of tyre marks and a load of wear marks onto the road, just making it look more worn. I probably should have gone more worn than I did, but I didn't really want to, because overlapping decals is a bit of a pain, and sometimes you get like great results, but other times the overlap affects things and makes them flicker and jump between decals, and it's just awkward. But it looks okay, and you could see the tyre marks underneath, but like I said, I should have gone for a more worn look. So that's it for the build part of this video. Stick around, because after this build is complete in a couple minutes, I will be joined by Skib and Hot Kettle, and we'll talk about who won in the end.
we are back with the cinematics that we were talking about, and I said I have a surprise and we'll announce the winner. The surprise is that we are doing a triple commentary on during these cinematics. So I have with me here Krabs McGee and Hot Kettle. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey everyone.
So before we announce the winner of the competition, this little challenge that we had here, the fun challenge, let's talk about how we found this entire build of the Magic Roundabout. It was easy or not? How it was for you guys?
It was a semi-easy build because I have built it in the past, but I did build it a while ago without many of the new mods and assets. And since I drive on the left, like it's easy enough to try and get the basic layout down. It can be confusing at times, but once you get the basic layout, it's just all about detailing and adding decals and white lines and stuff to the road. What about you, Hot Kettle?
Well, okay. So I've watched Crumbs' video before I built this, and like he gave me lots of ideas on how I can connect the inner ring and outer ring to the mini roundabouts, I guess. And like, you know, the building wasn't that hard. The hard part was like getting the traffic to flow and also the detailing, as Crum said. So in Traffic Manager, you have lots of nodes that you need to select. But since there were so many nodes on the road, like it became really confusing at sometimes. So yeah, it was medium, I guess.
Well, imagine my point of view, guys, because in my country we drive normally here on just kidding. We drive here on the right side of the road, not on the left side. That was the little challenge that I have here. Even though it took only around 2 hours to do the entire roundabout and detailing for it. It took quite a lot for me to do the entire surroundings because I wanted to have a little town, nice town there, and it took some time for me. But after it was a nice thing, a really nice thing. And now that I'm watching the cinematics again, I found out that you guys left the trucks to enter the roundabout, which I kinda killed. I killed the hard traffic not to go into the roundabout because otherwise it would have been very, very nasty. So I wanted to try not to have them here.
Yeah, I had the trucks going through my build because I accidentally added some industry, which then spawned trucks.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it wasn't too bad.
No, it doesn't look bad. Well, for me it looked bad, but I think it was bad when I left the entire traffic to flow because I built this roundabout in the middle of nowhere, and then I linked 3 highways. So there are 3 outside connections linked to this roundabout, plus 2 roads that are mainly for the people living here. And when I released the traffic, it was also people trying to go from outside to another region of what outside the map, plus the ones that were moving into my little town. So it was very messy. But after, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of flowing, everything was pretty okay. But I wanted to kill the trucks. I don't know why. I felt it would be easier, and I don't know. It's not like in real life they don't have to pass through there, but I killed it. I thought it would be better.
Yeah, the trucks were really nasty. I disabled them in the city planning tab, but for some reason they just spawned, so I wasn't really happy about.
Yeah, some stuff that don't work properly sometimes, you know. Okay, so we have 2 more minutes of the cinematics. Crumbs, you should announce the winner of the competition.
Okay, I will announce the winner. And the winner of the entire competition, with 42% of the vote, was Skib. Congratulations! Congratulations on winning.
Oh. Yay! Thank you. So now that I won the competition, you can send me your new computer that will arrive in a few days.
Yep,
And
that was the agreement. Totally.
Cool. Thanks so much, man. Thank you so much. I will have a better computer right now. Yeah, it was a joke, unfortunately. Crumbs didn't want to send me his computer. Let's wrap it up, guys, because we have 1 more minute of cinematics. It was a very nice challenge. I think we should do more of this. It was fun, and I really did enjoy it. Plus, I could build for a left side of the road driving, you know, for the first time. It was nice. But yeah, so guys, check out everyone's channel to see their point of view, how they did cinematics. I left everyone's channel in my description of the video, and that's it from me. See you next time, guys, and have a good day.
See you guys. Bye.
So yeah.